A very good afternoon to you and welcome to iRadio 1 o'clock news bulletin. First, the other headlines. The UN mission in South Sudan says at least 72 civilians were killed and 64 women and girls raped between February and April in Lair County of United States. The Juba City Council has arrested more than 60 boys and girls commonly known as niggers over the weekend. And authorities in Malakal of Upper Nile State says dead patients are still being kept in treatment wards due to lack of mortuary. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Yar Ajakdeng, and other news in detail. The UN mission in South Sudan says at least 72 civilians were killed and 64 women and girls raped between February and April in Lair County of United States. My colleague Okoti Manuel files this report.
UNMISS strongly condemned what it said was the widespread sexual violence, killings, including beheadings, burning alive of civilians and attack on humanitarians in Lair County. According to the mission, between 17 February and 7 April this year, 72 civilians were killed, 11 injured, and 64 cases of sexual violence recorded. In a statement seen by iRadio, the mission said the human rights violations were documented during a surge in violence carried out by armed youth from Koch and Mayendit counties. The special representative of the Secretary General for South Sudan, Nicholas Haysom, said, and I quote, "I am strongly appalled by these horrific attacks on civilians in Lair. We must all do everything we can to ensure that victims and survivors get the justice they deserve and receive the care and support they need." End quote. The UNMISS human rights team said it conducted 10 verification missions in which 2 survivors said that they were repeatedly raped and gang raped after they came out of hiding to find food for their children. The mission said a lactating mother recounted that she was raped and severely beaten for 3 days. According to initial reports, some 40,000 people have fled the violence in Lair, with thousands reportedly crossing the Nile to Fangak in Jonglei State. The mission further said thousands of cattle were raided and markets, homes and humanitarian facilities and warehouses looted and burned down. UNMISS said it deployed additional peacekeepers to conduct regular patrols, including night patrols in Lair town to prevent further loss of life. The peacekeepers are currently providing protection to displaced people and humanitarian responding to the needs of survivors. UNMISS, however, said the protection of civilians is the responsibility of the government. It will come initial steps taken in the formations of an investigation committee and the deployment of SSPDF to restore security in the area. Haysom said, and I quote, "The mission urges national and local authorities to take immediate measure to reduce tension and prevent further escalation and retaliatory attacks. Impunity on violation of human rights must end and perpetrators held accountable for these horrible crimes." End quote. UNMISS said apparently it is engaging with leadership at the capital and state level to mitigate violence, while civil affairs team are meeting with communities to conduct focus group discussion in conflict-affected areas. Reporting for iRadio News, I am Okot Emmanuel.
Thank you, Okot Emmanuel, for that report. The Juba City Council has arrested more than 60 boys and girls commonly known as niggers over the weekend. They are about 35 girls and 32 boys netted from Alt Labara, Jebel Sukar, Giada and Lologo areas in the city, calling themselves as rebel gangs, wrong boys among others. Mayor Michael Ladu Alajabu told iRadio the groups, mostly teens, were found involving in some bad behaviors. Alajabu says the city council is currently investigating the suspects. He calls on the parents to appear in his office to give an account of their children. Alajabu spoke to iRadio this morning in an exclusive interview.
مشينا في الحملة لأنه عندنا ناس شغالين تحت هناك، عندنا كوميونيتي بوليس وشغل الأحياء قاعدين يملكونا بمعلومات. يعني هنا رجعنا تاني لولوجو وأطلابارا، نحن بركتنا أطلابارا ولولوجو عملنا فيه أوبريشن تقيل قبضنا 67. في 67 ده كمان 35 بيت و32 ولد وقبلناهم في أماكن براو الولوجو هناك بنفس الكيفية في تراب البحر وفي جبل سكر وذاك الهوستا قيادة العامة هناك ورا هناك طبعا هم بيخشوا عندهم محلات علما بأنه هوستا قيادة العامة ده قفل بعد من الأسر جوا الماء ساكرة أصلا جروب اسمه ريبل جانج جروب وقاعد جوا هناك رئاسة بتاعهم جوا ورام بويز ديل في جبل سكر ديل هنا برضو لما قبضنا ديل بقينا جايين لقينا خبر ثاني كان في محل من أماكن أنتم قفلتوا طبعا هسه في مدور حفلة كبير يعني هنا دعمناه ويعجبناه.
The city mayor said 150 security personnel were deployed in a crackdown resulting in the teen's arrest. This comes 2 months after he called on the public to cooperate with authorities in arresting the gangsters. Al-Ajabu said his decision to conduct the crackdown was approved by the country's highest security committee. For years, residents in the capital Juba have been complaining about increasing hooligans among young people in the city. Authorities in Malakal town of Abanal state says dead patients are still being kept in treatment wards due to lack of mortuary. Dr. Nyango Adwok is the acting director general of Malakal Teaching Hospital. He says the only old mortuary was completely destroyed during the 5-year civil war. According to Adok, the hospital currently receives about 100 outpatients a day and admits about 20 patients daily. However, he said whenever a patient dies, the hospital is forced to put the body among inpatients until they are taken by their relatives. Dr. Adok explained.
المشرح ما عندنا في مستشفى ملكال حتى الان عندنا المشرح بيموت لي زول قبل ما اهله يجوا على ما الفتره دي كله بكون قاعد في العنبر مع العيانين الراقدين. عندنا مشاكل كثيره جدا. انت مع كسر الوضع بالصوت وبالتوثيق بالاوضاع الصحيه في ملكال. والجهه الشماليه انت جيت زياره لملكال يومتها وانت شاهدت الوضع في الجهه الشماليه. الوضع المباني مترهله وما بتحتاج يمكن لصيانه ذات. المفروض يخدمون يبنوا بدلهم جديد. برنامج كوفيد 19 جاب لنا خير يومتها ادى الى صيانه بتاعت بعض العنابر لانه عملوا مركز للرصد داخل المستشفى. المركز ده استلموه منظمه الاطباء بلا حدود وهم وفروا لنا الكهرباء والمويه في خلال 3 شهور كانوا ماسكين المركز.
Since the 2016 conflict, several NGOs and UN agencies have been partnering with the Upper Nile state government in the health sector to assist the local communities there. The facility has for years been understaffed, presenting another blow to their work in providing health services to the populace. There are only 9 right now, with the 3 doctors at the facility, and the hospital doesn't have X-ray and ultra-radiography. Dr. Nyango is now calling on the national government to consider Malakal Teaching Hospital as one of the main referral hospitals in the country and provide the necessary supports. You are still listening to iRadio 1 o'clock news bulletin. 2 children have died and another injured following a lightning strike in western Equatoria's Yambio town. The deceased kids, a girl and a boy, and the injured one, aged between 3 and 4, were watching videos on the phone when they were struck. According to Mayor of Yambio Municipality, the incident occurred yesterday at around 3 p.m. at Kuze residential area in Yambio. Singira John said this was amidst heavy downpour yesterday in Yambio, accompanied by strong storm.
Yesterday at around 3 afternoon, the rain was very heavy here, and the 3 kids have a strike by lightning here in Yambio town. The 2 were died at the spot, and the other one was in critical condition under medication. That happened yesterday here in Yambio municipality, and really we were very sad for that happened yesterday.
The deceased have been identified as Ganiko Gordon 4 and Nai 3. In September 2020, a mother of 4 was also killed after she was struck by lightning in Yambio. According to National Geographic, lightning kills or can cause cardiac arrest, including injuries ranging from severe burns and permanent brain damage to memory loss and personality changes. And now, before the international news, the government of Northern Barkazal State has launched planting of 2 million fruit trees in the states. Ane Dengane, who is the State Minister of Agriculture, says the move is to preserve the environment and combat desertification in the area. He says the trees shall be planted in 5 counties of the states. The trees shall include fruit-bearing plants such as mango, lemon, orange, guava, avocado, Indian mango, among others. According to the ANA, the climate change is affecting the agricultural production in the states.
We are implementing the policies of national government, Ministry of Environment concerning climate change. To address the climate change threats, we are targeting 2 million trees to be planted across the states, as well 5 counties. Also, will plant 500 trees. As you see globally, climate change is a major factor that causes reduction of crop production and also soil erosion and low.
The event was launched on Friday under the theme Keep the Town Green. Last week, youth-led organization Greening South Sudan and the Episcopal Church launched a campaign to plant 10 million fruits in central Equatoria in the next 10 years. This step came after government of Western Equatoria State in January this year directed county authorities to plant at least 5,000 fruit trees seedlings. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, an estimated 18 million acres of forest, which is roughly the size of the country of Panama, are lost each year. South Sudan has been experiencing extreme heat reaching levels of 40 degrees Celsius since the end of last year. You are still listening to iRadio 1 o'clock news bulletin, and now to the stories making headlines from the region and international scene. My colleague Lasuba Memo joins us, and this international news is proudly brought to you by MTN.
1, 2, 3. 1 million. 2 million.
Yes. It's time to celebrate. MTN 2 million. MTN has reached over 2 million customers and still counting. Are you? With over 2 million subscribers, why won't you trust MTN?
To enter the draw, get an MTN SIM card today and get free 10 minutes every day for 3 months and 500 MB every month for 3 months. And on top of that, qualify to enter a draw to win 2 million SSP cards.
Sabi, what are you waiting for? Buy an MTN SIM card today and get to win 2 million SSP. Yes, when MTN says 2 million SSP, it's 2 million for one lucky Junubin. Second winner gets 200,000 SSP, 10 winners get 20,000 SSP, and others get lots of MTN branded prizes.
Join MTN, the biggest family in South Sudan, and enjoy such amazing offers.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Thanks, Era Jack. In the international scene, the World Health Organization says it has identified more than 100 people who came into contact with a new case of the Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It says they are being closely monitored for symptoms, and vaccinations will start in the next few days. Over the weekend, the health authorities declared the third Ebola outbreak in Equateur province since 2018. Elsewhere, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has held talks with Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni in his first visit to the northern neighbor after tensions in 2019 led to border closures for 3 years. A statement from the State House in Entebbe said that the two leaders agreed to push the peace and stability in the region by addressing the crisis in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo through the East African Community Bloc. It said the pair held talks on Sunday. And finally, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has thanked the U.S. for its unprecedented support for Ukraine. According to the Ukraine's presidential website, he made the remarks during a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, who arrived on a visit on Sunday. The parties also discussed further defense assistance, the strengthening of sanctions on Russia, financial support for Ukraine, and security guarantees. That's all in the international scene. Back to you, Yara Jack.
Thank you, Lasuba Memo, for those international news. And now my colleague Alex Misogo joins us with the sports news.
Thanks, Yal. In sport and in domestic sport, the SSFA General League 2021-2022 8th edition will kick off on Zone 2, Juba, tomorrow instead of today. This is after the SSFA has amended the fixture on Friday as two teams from Raja and Benchu, Nahal and the Medical FC respectively withdraw from the competition, affecting the fixtures for Zone 1 and Zone 2. The other two zones in Awil and Malakal will kick off on Wednesday 27th of April 2022. Tomorrow, Munuki FC will play Kinetic FC of Torit. In La Liga, Barcelona suffered a third home defeat in a row for the first time in a single season with a shock loss to Rayo Vallecano. Barca's defeat leaves Real Madrid on the brink of the title, with Carlos Ancelotti's side needing 1 point from 5 games to become champions. Madrid can clinch a record 35th Spanish title by avoiding defeat against Espanyol on Saturday. Rayo earned a La Liga double over Barca through Alvaro Gracia's sharp strike. Barca, who knew victory would all put secure a top 4 finish and Champions League qualification, have won just twice in their past 6 matches. In Premier League, leaders Liverpool moved back to win 1 point of Manchester City and left neighbours Everton languishing in the bottom 3 after victory in the Merseyside derby. Struggling Everton made Liverpool fight for their win with a well-organised and a disciplined performance that will give them hope they can still avoid the drop, but was not enough to deny Jurgen Klopp quadruple chasing side. Liverpool can find different ways to get the job done, and after blowing Manchester United aside on Tuesday, they demonstrate patience to finally break down Everton's stubborn resistance in what could prove to be a priceless win. That was what we had for you in sport, and back to you in the studio. My name is Alex Misogo.
Thank you, Alex, for those stories that are making headlines in the world of sports. And now to end this news bulletin, here is a recap of the main headlines again. The UN mission in South Sudan says at least 72 civilians were killed and 64 women and girls raped between February and April in Lair County of Unity States. The Juba City Council has arrested more than 60 boys and girls, commonly known as niggers, over the weekends. And authorities in Malakal of Upper Nile State says dead patients are still being kept in treatment wards due to lack of mortuary. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can also get these stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alert on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700-700# and follow the instructions. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It is also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel iRadio South Sudan and watch our comprehensive interviews. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30 p.m. I am Yar Ajagdeng. Thank you for listening.